I'd like to make a point of order first. I just want to read from this bylaw, right out of our bylaws again, because you keep misstating things incorrectly. It says, Board Bylaw 9323. If order cannot be restored by the removal of individuals, the Board of Trustees may order the meeting room cleared and continue in session. Now, this doesn't say the president.
Point of parliamentary
It
procedure.
says, I'm sorry, I have the floor.
Point of
Trustee
parliamentary
Muscovy has the
procedure.
floor.
Thank you, Mr.
Procedure
President.
always
Trustee
takes
Muscovy
precedence.
has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. It doesn't say the president in here, so if someone wants to make a motion and we get a second and we vote on it to clear the room, then that's how this should be appropriately handled. If our president, Mr. President, if you'd like to call a recess, that's absolutely great, but to clear the room, it says exactly here what we're supposed to do, so I would ask you to follow the bylaws in the future.
Does it say there, parliamentarian clerk Clayton Jarman, does it say the exact procedure that we are supposed to follow when clearing the room, that we do need to call a motion to clear the room?
No.
Thank you. You are ruled incorrect on this one. Go ahead and start your comment.
Thank you. For the record, that is Board Bylaw 9323, number 11. We can all look it up later.
Noted. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question for our superintendent.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Patrick Brendan appointed Gracie to the HB Finance Board. The same individuals are also smearing her name and trying to have her removed from that board. Councilman Brendan has taken the necessary time to contact Gracie and ascertain her side of the story, unlike our superintendent and trustees. So, Superintendent, have you contacted Councilman Brendan to learn his findings?
Superintendent?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. And isn't it true that you really don't want to learn the truth because it doesn't fit the narrative?
Superintendent?
Yeah. No, that's not an accurate statement.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. And I'd like to ask the trustees here to raise their hand if they actually contacted Gracie about this issue. Okay, only one. And nobody else. Well, I've reached out to her, and I listened to what she had to say about the lies made against her. And if Miss Vandermark is a racist, then so is the Pope. I hereby testify Miss Vandermark is categorically not a racist and is being systematically smeared to harass, intimidate, defame, and silence her as a political tactic. Any trustee who willfully participates in this obvious political smear campaign does so at their own political peril. I'm ashamed of the people who are behaving this way, and they're condemning someone based on just circumstantial evidence, and they don't even take the time to contact her and find out what the truth is from their own mouth. And then we do this short agenda item, and then we're just going to take her down. It violates any kind of ethics there is. Allowing outright lies, bullying, and intimidation to occur from within our labor groups without a whiff of fact-checking is reprehensible. Reprehensible. What will be even worse if this board takes action without seeking the truth, which looks like what's going to happen tonight. This sickens me. This district is supposed to be about kids and education, and we're far from it. These groups are creating political theater so you're distracted from the problems of this district. I don't want political theater. That's not why I came here. I'm here to do the business of the people and educate children and make everyone's lives better. And why we can't focus on this at this district is beyond me. It didn't used to be like this. It's changed. This district has changed for the worse. And until we change it around and we take action, it's going to keep getting worse. The problems at this district can only be cured at the ballot box. Elections are coming. Thank you.
You have the floor.
So, procedurally, the president of the board is supposed to contact appointees to be able to speak to them about issues, and I believe President Souders did. attempt to contact Ms. Vandermark. Is that correct, President Souders? Did you?
It is correct.
Did she respond to you?
I was hung up on the first time, and she did not answer the phone the second time.
So you called and you heard her voice, and
What I believe to be was her voice.
okay, on her phone number that she had listed with us,
Yes, ma'am.
and she hung up on you.
Yes.
Okay. And then the superintendent called.
Yes. Well, the two of us called together.
Okay. And then the superintendent wrote.
I believe so.
And then the deputy superintendent called,
I believe so.
and there was no response.
That is what I've been told.
And then the agenda item was published for the public, including Ms. Vandermark,
Yes, ma'am.
and she is not here this evening.
No, ma'am. Not to my
And,
knowledge.
and so like any member of the public, she would have access to be able to see the agenda item.
I would assume she has many friends, close friends, from what they reported tonight, that I would assume have her number and could call her and tell her that she's on the agenda.
Okay. And have you seen the event pages that were created to come and talk in her favor? Have you seen that?
I don't know.
Okay. There were. I have spoken to Councilman Brendan about this. I have. I told him about my concerns. It's his job to handle his appointment. It's not ours. That's the city council's and his particular appointment. He has to handle that. But I did talk to him about my concerns several times. I would like to clarify that our labor groups have nothing to do with this. I don't know where that is coming from. The Ocean View Teachers Association, the CSEA, have officially said nothing about this. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. I totally reject the fact that my colleague said here that this school district is in disarray, it's awful. That's totally untrue. These are tactics. These are tactics created to create havoc so that you all can think that there's something wrong when actually our children are doing a great job, our teachers are doing a great job. Our school district is great. It's one of the highest performing school districts in California, period. All you have to do is look it up on the state's website to be able to see our scores as opposed to others. And I might add that our school district is the only school district in Huntington Beach that has schools that were just designated as distinguished schools by the state of California. The state of California only makes those determinations based on actual, real evidence of being distinguished. The only school district in Huntington Beach. And there are 5. So I reject what is being said on multiple levels. And furthermore, basically there is confusion in the public that the personal actions and views of this appointee are ours, and they're not ours. Our policy says that we can disavow ourselves from somebody in all association with them because of their actions and views. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Briscoe?
I have a question, President Souders, for the superintendent. First, did the district correctly post the agenda for all to see, including the trustees, with the appropriate legal required lead time?
Superintendent?
Yes.
So everybody was noticed as required under California state law.
I believe so. Superintendent?
May I make a comment? Yes, to Trustee Briscoe's question. Also, Dr. Conroy specifically called Mrs. Vandermark to tell her about the agenda item.
So President Souders, has there been any errors or omissions on the part of the district that would violate the spirit or letter of the law or notification to anybody and everybody, including web posting, including posting on the outside of our meeting room, including delivery of the agenda to the trustees, including Trustee Westwell, that we comply with all the laws and advance hourly notice, that 72-hour notice?
I can only take the superintendent's assertions that that is true. I have not been on social media. I have not been on social media since about 6 months after taking the board, from what I recall. I
You're
decided
better than before.
yes, I decided to avoid that altogether.
So the claim that nobody was given a chance to defend themselves or know about the meeting under California state law would be incorrect. That's all I have to say. I'd like to call the question and vote. I'd like to call the previous question.
It's your right to make a motion to call a question. Would you like to make a motion to call a question?
I'd like to make a motion to call the question.
Okay, there is a motion to call the question for us. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Westwell, no.
Okay. Motion carries 4-0. So now we need to take a vote, and that ends discussion. We need to take a vote on 01. Superintendent's Office Removal Committee member on Ocean View School District Citizens Oversight Committee is before us tonight for action.
I'd like to make an alternate motion.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to move that we table this item.
Okay, we have a motion before us to table the item. Is there a second?
Really?
Okay, motion dies for lack of a second. So now we'll return to the original motion for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Westwell, no.
All right, motion carries 4-1 with Westwell in opposition, and that moves us to 02, Administrative Services Resolution Number 23-1718, certifying the final environmental impact report, adopt findings of fact, adopt mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approve the multi-campus modernization and interim housing project.
Lawsuits.
Is before us for a public hearing. Good evening, sir.
I'll move.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Is this a public hearing? Aren't we on vote two,
Oh,
public hearing?
yes,
Are
we
we
are.
doing this
Sorry.
inappropriately? Thank you, Mr. President.
I still don't like your tone, sir.
How did you hear Patricia's secret vote?
Sir, I'm going to have to clear the. Actually, I think I'm just going to clear the gallery. I gave you guys one more chance. You're still shouting stuff out.
want to just answer.
I just can't have you shouting stuff out.
Point of order, Mr. President. I think. Point of order, Mr. President.
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to ask that you leave the gallery, please.
Thank you.
I certainly will. But did you know
You
this
can
ahead of
return to your
time?
public comments.
Did you already decide ahead of time? So you guys have already been in a
Sir,
private
I'm going
meeting?
to have to ask you to leave the room, please.
Ask me to leave.
Thank you. Could you please leave the room?
No.
Okay. Then I'm going to have to ask you to leave the room. Or we
You
can
asked
also
me to leave the room. I said no.
How did you know that she voted no? You didn't
What?
even look at her.
I will
When I asked for opposing votes, only one vote came through.
You never even voted.
So if you're not going to do so, then I have no choice but to call the police.
You never voted.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to leave the room as well, please.
Leave Genevieve by.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to leave the room as well.
You come with me now, come on. Let's go.
Do a better job. I'm going to kick out people like
Sir,
this.
you can leave the room.
Can you
Thank
start
you.
your circus?
Thank you.
Do some action, please.
You-
Thank you.
Disgrace the Huntington Beach, all of you. Seriously, and the superintendent. You are disgraceful. Excuse me, ma'am. Disgrace.
You can return during public comments. Oh, yeah. O2, this is ahead of us for public hearing. We're going to open it up for 1 minute. And you may approach the podium if you wish to speak on this item. Starting now.
Can we speak?
Yes, you may. Approach the podium on this item only.
Okay.
O2. Ma'am? Is this on O2?
Yes.
Okay.
1 minute.
Sure.
Okay, my name is Dora Young, and I'm speaking for, on behalf of my friend, Gracie Vandermark.
Oh, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. This is O2, Administrative Services Resolution. It's certifying the final environmental impact report, adoption findings. We've already passed O1. So
Okay.
if you'd like to make more comments, you can submit a card and speak during the second public comment section.
Okay, I did submit a card.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll call it.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Okay. That's closing public hearing. We are now at O3, Administrative Services Resolution Number 231718, certifying the final environmental impact report, adopting findings of fact, adopt mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approve the multi-campus modernization and interim housing project is before us tonight for action.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Trustee Westwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for who would ever like to answer it. It says, makes the recommendation that DTSC advise us to conduct an environmental review. Have we done that?
Superintendent, or how about Deputy Superintendent?
Yes, we have.
Can you repeat the answer?
Can you repeat the answer, please?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have. Thank you. Also, when this project is done, it's been recommended that we have an agency, we contact an agency to determine if it's safe for our students and staff. And so once this construction is complete, do we have an agency that's going to come in and take a look at everything and say, hey, great, you guys are all safe. This is safe for kids to come back to school. Are we doing that?
Deputy Superintendent?
No, we don't have an agency come in and say it's safe. And I'm not sure what you're referencing to.
Can you be more specific as to which agency you're referencing, Trustee?
It doesn't really say an agency. I believe it just has, they want to have, they're recommending that some expert comes in. There's several recommendations in here. I'd have to go back and look them all up. But one of the recommendations was to have it, some sort of inspector who's qualified to do inspections such as this, to come in once our construction is complete, and it's like the asbestos, to have them come in and say, you're clear of asbestos, you're good to go, kids can come back now, it's safe. So I want to make sure that this is safe for kids when we've done all this construction, we don't have, poison laying around or any kind of number of hazards. I can't enumerate them all, but I want we have some sort of inspecting agency that can come in and is certified to do this sort of thing, and they can say, yeah, this job is done, it's complete, and it's safe for kids, as per the recommendations in this item.
A couple of things. One, you were given a copy of the final environmental impact report. You were also given a copy of the final impact report regarding the findings of the sequel, which is what you're referencing. I believe these two gentlemen can answer your question.
Thank you.
Mr. Westwell, the interim housing plans were approved by the Division of State Architecture, and they require a DSA inspector to inspect the work. I think what you're asking, and that person will be on board every day on the job site, and they eventually sign off according to DSA requirements.
As to safety?
Yes.
Okay, if it turns out it's not safe, then they would be liable because they're
DSA exonerates the district. It's required that any school facility go through their offices. That frees you up as a board. And the DSA inspector is the one that ensures that the job is built for plans and specifications. His job is to observe and report.
and they go all the way to the end to the when
They're
they give us
there,
the
they
keys,
sign
right?
it off. We get the inspection cards. They sign those cards off.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this.
Any further discussion? Hearing no one, move to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 04, Administrative Services Authorization to use piggyback bid number 104-18 from the Newport Mesa Unified School District for office supplies, school supplies, and equipment is in front of us tonight for action.
I move it.
That was moved by Trustee Westwell, seconded by Trustee Briscoe. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. 05, Administrative Services Independent Contractor Agreement for GASP or GASP 75 Valuation Services between Ocean View School District, Orange County, and Grant Thornton is in front of us tonight for action. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
And any discussion? Trustee Wilson.
It's accurate to say that it's cheaper to handle this through an outside vendor than to do it internally. Is that correct?
Superintendent?
Yes.
Or Deputy Superintendent, sorry.
Thank you. I'll be supporting it. Oh, I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Did this go through the bid process?
No, this is professional services.
Okay.
It's-
This is not a California company. If this thing goes south, is the venue, I think I read in here, the venue is California, go to litigation?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. No other questions?
Any other discussion? All right, hearing no, move to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 6, Educational Services Independent Contractor Agreement between Ocean View School District of Orange County and Cambrian Home Care for Inclusion Services and Expanded Learning Programs, FLY, is in front of us tonight for action.
Moved.
Is there a second? All right, any discussion?
Who was the second?
Trustee Singer? All right. Hearing none, move to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 07, Educational Services Independent Contractor Agreement between Ocean View School District of Orange County and Linda Mood Bell Learning Processes is in front of us tonight for action. I will move. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Trustee Westwell.
Can someone describe to me the selection process we went through for this?
Superintendent?
I'm gonna let Mrs. Bratlinger comment on this.
The selection process is based on the student's IEP and the services that they need. So this is a student with special needs who has certain services that the IEP requires.
How do we come to determine we needed Linda Bell learning processes over other vendors?
They're the ones that provide the intensive one-on-one learning for this child's needs.
And how much experience do these folks have doing this sort of work?
I don't know exactly, but they have been around for quite a while.
Thank you.
Trustee Briscoe?
This is a negotiated, agreed IEP between the parents and the school district that meets what the parents are demanding or looking for and meets our expectations of learning to meet the standards of the state. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Discussion? Again, move to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 08, Educational Services Independent Contractor Agreement between Ocean View School District of Orange County and Maxim Healthcare Services, Inc. for health technicians / LVNs is in front of us tonight for action.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
That second goes to Trustee Clayton Tarvin. Sorry, got others. Any discussion? Trustee Westphal.
Page 75, under rationale, the last line, can somebody tell me what behind absent is? It says there are no substitutes available to fill behind absent or vacant positions. I don't know where behind absent is. What is that?
Superintendent?
Could you tell me what page you're on?
75. Under rationale. 1, 2, 3, 4.
First paragraph, last.
Last line, first paragraph. Behind absent. I've just never heard that term before.
It was a choice of words. Positions that, it means really the same as vacant positions.
Okay. This is for an example, I think it's overnight field trips requiring healthcare services. What kind of field trip requires healthcare services?
When students have IEPs that require certain, that have, students with IEPs that have health issues, so maybe a diabetic.
So it's not general population? I mean,
Well,
general.
they are a member of the general population, but they might have special needs.
Right, but I'm getting to is if we're just gonna go to the zoo or something, we don't send a person like this.
No,
Okay.
we have to know that there's a need.
Okay.
And just to re-answer your question, if we have personnel that are available and can go, we'll use our own personnel. This is when we don't have our own personnel that's available.
Okay, no further questions?
Trustee Clayton Tarvin.
I can give you an example of when this might be necessary. For instance, I teach the 6th grade in a neighboring school district, and the students go for an entire week to outdoor science camp. And some of them have, and there have been students that have had diabetes or that have severe epilepsy, and they need to have a health tech or a nurse with them at all times to administer specific medications or utilize their magnet that's in them to stop them from seizing. And in reality, these students require a tremendous and also an extraordinary level of care. And because the school district is there to provide for this for them, because this is considered school when they are out, at science camp, it's considered school. We have to provide those things. And so this is absolutely necessary for our district to enter into this contract. And I would advise my colleagues to vote yes. Thank you.
Trustee Westphal?
Did this go out to bid?
Superintendent?
It's not required to.
No further questions?
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 09, Human Resources proposed openers for contract negotiations between Ocean View School District of California School Employees Association and its chapter number 375 for the 2017-2018 school year is before us tonight for action. I will second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, that brings us to item P. Any other public communications to the Board of Trustees? Please bear in mind that you are only allowed to comment if you have the microphone and have been and filled out a blue card. Clerk Clayton Tarvin, do we have any other public communications?
We do.
How many?
Looks like 7.
Okay,
President,
get her done.
point of personal privilege.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to recognize the Huntington Beach Police Department, 3 officers in the back. Thank you for coming.
Well done, officers. Thank you. Prompt response as well. Okay. Go ahead. Start with the first speaker.
Beverly Welch, followed by Genevieve Peters.
They were told to leave and they come back in.
It's up to them. Hold their hands. You go ahead.
Gone. They're gone.
Next speaker.
Valentina Bankhead, followed by Stacy Allen.
I'm going to finish off my speech. Gracie Vandermark made an oath to you, to the state of California, to these students, to do her best with honorable intentions and ethical foresight for the students of Oakview District, where her own children have attended. There should be no reason, assumptions, or other passage for a removal of a great woman that shows her character at face value and her fortitude to inspire many other young women to be participating in their school districts. She has done a remarkable job thus far. Why would you or others have that taken away from your district? Please understand that when people try to banter and defame someone in politics as committee members, this type of behavior is dangerous. And in the end, you can lose out on a great representation of a woman taking a seat in your district that is not only inspirational, but an improvement to the flow at your meetings and well-conducted channels of productivity. The benefit here is to your students that attend schools in the Oakview District. Don't benefit the naysayers because they are disrespectful, Gina, and can't handle a decent person who is not corrupt and is not condescending and is not for her own personal gain. It certainly makes me wonder why Oversight Committee member or clerk Gina Clayton Tarvin would go to such lengths to discredit and character assassinate Gracie Vandermark socially and professionally. Thank you for your time. I highly advise you to think things through and keep Mrs. Gracie Vandermark on your team for the sake of the students that will be benefiting from a person of passion and ethical actions. Gina, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Dom McGee, followed by Jason Bozarth.
Hello, Don McGee again. Just want to, I obviously I accept your decision. I can't do anything other than that about Gracie. What I would like to bring to your attention is there's a certain connection between Miss Patricia Singer. I believe that you were appointed as opposed to elected, and the Oakview Comunidad. There's a picture of you on Facebook holding up one of their shirts. The caption next to it, which is from Comunidad, not yourself, may I say, is a picture of the Ku Klux Klan, and over the top of it, it says Huntington Beach Mayor Michael Posey and Mayor Pro Tem Eric Peterson trying to make America great again. I would say this is hate speech.
Yeah.
I would say you're accusing them of being Ku Klux Klan members, and that is pretty harsh. If you're an advocate of Comunidad, I would ask that you step down and do what you did to Gracie to yourself.
Yep.
To yourself, Miss Tarbin, you've been going every third Tuesday, I believe, to King's Head Fish House. Well, you were there last Tuesday with Bob Bartlett, who has advocated the violent death of the Right Honourable Dana Roebucker. I would say, due to your associations, you should also step down and practice what you preach. Obviously, you want to go after women of colour. You say that you're an advocate for women, and yet you hang around with and have associations with men who have beaten and thrown their wives down the stairs.
Yeah.
I would say that you are a misogynist. I would say that you are a racist, that you've attacked women of colour, and I would ask you to step down, please, ma'am. What do you say to that? Both of you. I would ask right now that you either step down or we impose some kind of recall effort against you. You're a disgrace.
Absolutely.
You're anti-American also. I do not want to see Old Glory over there replaced by a red star. I took an oath at one point to protect the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I do think you're a domestic, you are an enemy, a domestic enemy of the United States, pushing your left-wing socialist doctrines. I think we've had enough.
My name is Jason Bozarth, and frankly, I am pretty much horrified by what I have seen tonight. I will simply say this. I will not be silenced. I will not be bullied by a hooting pack of bigots or sovereign citizens. We have seen the worst in our community tonight, I'm afraid. Instead of calling for calm investigation and deliberation, there was shouting, bullying, aggression, name-calling, and the creation of an environment of fear. I find this all very telling. But the simple fact of the matter is that this is not the first time that we have had to deal with bigotry and intimidation. And I am proud of how most of our board has dealt with it. And I support the actions that the board has taken tonight. It was done during duress, despite constant personal attacks, and you have acted with poise and acted in the best interest of this district. And we, the reasonable and sane people of this community, thank you for your difficult service.
How dare you call us bigots?
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
That's
the room,
fine.
please. Thank you.
My father came here from Mexico, and you guys are calling us bigots? You're calling us
Thank
racists?
you. Ma'am, I need you to leave the room.
It's
please.
disgusting, despicable.
Sorry, could you remove from the room?
You don't need to.
Okay, next speaker is Dura Young.
Hello, board members. My name is Dura Young, and I'm speaking about my friend Gracie Vandermark. The First Amendment can be interpreted in many ways. Some people like to use it as a political power play at the expense of children's education. The LA Times wrote an article about Gina Clayton Tarvis and Chuck Johnson. Gina was attempting to obtain a restraining order and alleges that Chuck Johnson had threatened her on social media and the school board meetings, causing her to quote unquote fear for her safety. Johnson's response, and I quote, "She's literally trying to silence myself and many other private citizens. that dare to disagree with her. I am confident that the truth will emerge. I am anxious yet grateful for the opportunity to expose her once and for all as a hypocrite that she is, quote, unquote. The article goes on to say that Gina Clayton-Tarbin has been involved with long-standing feuds in the LA Times on social media, including Facebook and community forums. Gina also unsuccessfully requested a restraining order against Raymond Herrera, a great patriot who loves America. The Superior Court Judge, Craig Griffin, disagreed, citing free speech concerns and denying the request for a temporary restraining order. So if a person disagrees with Gina, it looks like she will do anything to discredit you. How are you going to punish free speech? I have gone to town halls and meetings with Gracie. She is a very strong woman who has high moral character and integrity. This looks like a political power play for self-gain, Gina. Gina Clayton-Tarbin should be terminated and relieved of her duties. Bullies do not belong in the school system. Gina Clayton-Tarbin, you will be voted out.
Next is John Earl.
John Earl, I live in Huntington Beach, and I want to thank the majority of board members up here for the way you handled the meeting. I think you did a great job considering the circumstances. And Norm, you know, you said things have changed. Really, you know, I've known you for a while, you know, and used to have some good conversations with you. We disagreed quite a bit. You were pretty eccentric and all that, but you know, you had some methods in your madness, so to speak, and you know, but I think you've changed. I think you've changed since you were on the board, starting when you were on the board before, because your actions tonight just kind of border on psychopathy, really. I mean, you really should do a little soul searching. This is a big responsibility you have here, and you're just trying to stir things up, create trouble. You're trying to be a mini Trump here, you know. And no, you want to have a recall against Ms. Singer. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to put you on that recall as well. I don't know, because you know, I think you've gone over the edge. And I admire the other board members, particularly Gina Tarbin, for putting up with all this crap constantly. So many meetings in the past. I'm afraid I wouldn't have the patience for that. And it's a difficult job, and thank you for doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public speakers?
Yes, we have Naomi Anderson and Naui Huetzopato, who I believe are outside.
They made an announcement that we're in the public comments, so we're going to move on.
Speakers outside?
No.
Okay. Then that concludes public comments.
That brings us to P, future agenda items as requested by board members. Your open to suggestions. Trustee Westwell.
I'd like to have an agenda item that we can immediately start doing a superintendent search.
There's always that way to put it on there if you want to put the agenda item on your own. Any others? Okay. Board of Trustees Roundtable. Trustee Westwell.
Thank you. Mr. Earl, you asked me earlier if I contacted Gracie. I indeed did. I couldn't answer you because it was during the public comment session, but I did contact her. And I also contacted Mr. Patrick Brennan, and I know his thoughts on the matter. I'm not going to disclose them tonight, but I believe Patrick will do the right thing. The clerk Tarbin goes on social media endlessly and is causing trouble for our district. It causes hate and discontent. She stirs the pot and causes controversy, and it's all, in my opinion, a bid to stroke her ego, her enormously huge ego. She has to be told she's doing a great job, what a wonderful person she is. And it really riles up a lot of people. So it makes her base, really happy when she does all this stuff, but then she lies and cheats, and, maybe those are the right words. Let me draw those back. She creates misinformation. She leaves out important information, and the people pick up on this, and they're really tired of it. They're getting sick of it. It's impacting our district in a negative way. We have rules and bylaws for our social media, and I would ask Ms. Tarbin if she would just please refrain from the social media activities, because all she's doing is causing trouble and bringing disharmony to this district. I'm sure she thinks she's doing the right thing, but as you can see, this isn't working out well for our district. She also has a high propensity to silence any opposition. This is well known in our community, and it's done through a variety of tactics. This board's trying to shut me down here tonight, as you can see, because they just don't want to hear any kind of opposition. They're fearful of opposition. So I really thank the people who stand up for freedom and liberty and for the right things in America and the right things for our community, because there's no place for lying and that sort of thing. We have an anti-bullying policy here in our district, and it's really outrageous that the teachers seem to be bullying more than anyone. And it's disturbing. These people should know better. And these are the people that are teaching our children, which frightens me. Absolutely frightens me. And it should frighten you too. And in the effort here for the singer thing that's been mentioned about me, this is a lawful activity. And this is not about Patricia Singer. I like Patricia Singer, Trustee Singer. This is about the process that was used, and the board here selected a candidate that didn't have it wasn't the best candidate. Dr. Bauer served on this board as president. He served 8 years. He served as president as the high school district for 2 terms, as 8 years. He served as mayor 8 terms. He served on the grand jury. He's a PhD in chemistry. He's got more qualifications than probably all of us in this room. And the board decided that he wasn't qualified enough. He also said he wasn't going to run.
Good evening. This was definitely a colorful meeting for sure. I'm learning a lot. As you guys know, I am new to this board, and I am eager to learn more every day. I'm not shy from public service. I've been doing it for a long time in our schools and volunteering. And people believe that I don't have a mind of my own, and I really do. I like to think of things and really research them and decide on facts. And a lot of people, in the audience today were saying, it's bullying and it's this and it's because they're hanging out, but it doesn't mean they have their same values, but yet they're using that literally against me as well. Their hate comes from, because Gina happens to be my friend, I must think just like Gina, and I must do everything like Gina. And listen, Gina and I are friends, and there's a lot of things we don't always agree on, but it doesn't mean that I don't have a brain of my own. And I will continue to serve. I will continue to do the best I can. If that is what is elected to be so, and I'm going to do it ethically, I'm going to do it honestly. That's all I can do. I'm going to do the best I can, and people can shake their heads and do everything they want, but it's like, give me an opportunity to really see who I am. You don't know me yet. And I have been volunteering in our schools for years. I've been doing it. There's no political game here for me. I mean, other than serving, what am I going to do with this position other than it is quite stressful, and I'm doing it because I love our kids and I want the best for kids. So it saddens me to see all of this, but I also understand people have the right to voice their opinions, and I have to listen whether I like it or not, and that's what I will continue to do respectfully.
Thank you. Trustee Clayton Tarbin.
Thank you for being here this evening. Like Trustee Singer said, it was a spirited meeting. Thanks to the HBPD who came actually after the disruption, but you're here now. We appreciate that. It was unfortunate that President Souders had to clear the room, but there was complete disrespect for the law. The Ed Code is very clear. If you speak, during the time that you're not supposed to. It is a disruption, a willful disruption of the meeting. And it happened at least 40 times this evening. How many times does it have to happen? It shouldn't happen at all. We're supposed to be in a civilized situation. This country runs on rules and laws, and so that we can conduct the business of the school district. We're here because of children. People are losing sight of that. I'm a school teacher. I've been a teacher 22 years. I got involved in this district and on the board because I care about children. My 2 kids go to this school district. How many of you can raise your hand and say that your kids go to this school district? Maybe 1 or 2, I think. Trustee Singer. The point is that we need to stay focused on the kids, and I want to rebut very strongly the notion that our teachers are bullies. What in the... Oh my gosh, Trustee Westwell, teachers are not bullies. We have 420 teachers in this school district, and they are not bullies. For you to make such a blanket statement and say that our teachers are bullies and that our labor unions are this and that, please, you know what? It needs to just stop. It's all rhetoric designed to stir up anger and dissension and to make your base agitated so that you can't run another recall. You just sat up here earlier and told me, you're next. You're going to have a rough year. We're going to recall you. Okay. Well, you have the right to go collect signatures and see if that occurs. That is your right under California state law. But what you will be doing by doing that, because of your political differences with me, is you will be committing this district to spending another $300,000, if successful, after you try to have Patricia Singer recalled as well. That's $600,000 of our general fund budget because you don't like the fact that I'm registered as a Democrat or because you think I'm a radical liberal. All these things that are not true about me. They're just your labels that you give to me. And if you say them enough times, I guess you think they'll stick. This is inaccurate. Please get back to the business of the district. Stop with the gamesmanship and get back to doing what we need to do here. I'm asking you humbly to stop.
Thank you. Trustee Briscoe.
I just have 2 short comments. I want to draw your attention to Clerk Clayton Tarbin's vote count almost 3 times the vote count of Trustee Westwell, over 20,000 votes in the last election, the last time she ran. A formidable number. Second, I want to draw your attention to the fact I talked to an agitated constituent who went on and on and on about the appointment of Trustee Singer to the board and the unelected nature of her appointment. And I want to draw your attention to the fact that Trustee Singer ran for election and she came in 3rd. The people have voted for Trustee Singer and they voted her 3rd. They voted Trustee Westwell 2nd and they voted Trustee Clerk Clayton Tarbin 1st with over 20,000 votes, almost 3 times. So Trustee Singer has been voted, has been vetted by the people, far more than an EDD or a PhD who applied, and even Dr. Ralph Bauer, a wonderful man. He wasn't voted on in this election at this time. Trustee Singer was voted on and not quite elected. It's not horseshoes, but then she's on the seat in the chair now and approved by the people.
Okay, thank you. This is trustee comments. We can't have any responses during trustee comments. I will thank you all for coming. I apologize for having to clear the gallery. I tried to give you guys as many times as I could. I do not like to clear the gallery. Some would argue that I gave you more chances than you deserved. In the future, I will be playing it a lot closer to the belt. You can count on that. And I will be removing individuals after several warnings and then making sure that this meeting runs in an orderly fashion. I agree with the other trustees here, we have gotten a long ways away from what we are supposed to be doing here. I'm not going to go into my reasons for my vote earlier tonight. If I had any questions before I came here tonight, they were answered by the public comments by the people that came to the microphone tonight in spades. And I had my answer clear by the time that we went to the vote. We have to get back to the governance that's before us. There's too many distractions. These 20 seconds of fame that everyone's searching for on Facebook, 20 minutes, the hits that you guys get, it's out of control. It's taken us on the federal level, on a local level, on a state level. It's just out of control. We need to get the guy running this country. I do not fear oppositional speech. I love oppositional speech. I welcome oppositional speech. I have no problem with it at all, as long as it is done respectfully and in an organized manner. That is the way we are supposed to do things in this country. That's why we have free speech laws. Yes, it is.
That's not in the history of free
Sir,
speech.
point of order. Right,
I'm out, but
thank you.
you're
I'm
all
not kicking you out,
communists.
sir. I'm just saying, please be quiet.
I'm a constitutionalist, not a
So,
communist.
this is one of the reasons we have that. Because you have free speech, does not mean you have free association. Thank you for the Hitler sign. Does not mean you have free association. It doesn't mean we have to associate with you. You have the right to say whatever you want. Say whatever you want, but we don't have to associate ourselves with you. You have that right. I have the right to say and behave and associate myself with who I want. Period. Now, you want to come to the microphone and say whatever you want to say, I welcome it. But do it civilly and allow other people to do the same thing. And in the future, I guarantee you, I'm going to play this more harshly. Because I'm not going to let these meetings get out of control the way they did tonight. To the members of the HPPD, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your service. I don't think you arrived too late. I think you arrived just in time. And I can't even tell you how grateful I was to see you come to this meeting. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. And thank you to the rest of you for coming.
Point of clarification, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. On item R, Board of Trustees Roundtable, does this allow, since it's a roundtable, are we allowed to have more than one comment?
No, we just usually limit it to one.
Usually, but I believe that's what we usually do, but can we get a
That's
parliamentary ruling?
That's what we're doing tonight, sir. That's my ruling. Let's move on to S.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, sir. Closed session. We do not need it. So we're on the T, which we do not need because we didn't go into closed session, and we are on U. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
At 10:50.